Hello there, everyone. Xantalk here with Slick Start Gaming, and welcome back to some more Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. And we're back in court. Gordon Phoenix, it's been 2 months since he took his last case, and it's another prosecutor that we're having to defend here. Well, doesn't that just seem familiar? Anyways, it is now February 23rd, 9:34 a.m., and we're in the defendant lobby. Well, one of them at least. How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Frankly, there are still a lot of gray areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area. Don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes? A defense attorney should never believe their client. Really? But that's what got Hammond killed. The defendant is called to trial because they're suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. Ms. Skye, you remind me a lot of Mia, but there is one decisive difference between you and her. And that is, you're not a defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. We're gonna need it. My first trial without a Fae helping me. But no one's gonna bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself. You know, see, it's funny you say that, but we've got Emma right here with us. You're not totally alone, right? Come on now. Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. February 23rd, it's now 10 a.m. The trial shall begin. The court is now in session for the trial of Ms. Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Edgeworth. I haven't been in court since Edgeworth's trial. It's been a while now. I hope that personal feelings will not be part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path that I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. Wow, he is much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything. However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness. Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls its first witness, Ms. Angel Starr, to the stand. A cough-up queen. Haven't I seen you somewhere? You ordered the caviar lunch, right? Ho ho, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before. The judge is really wolfing it down, too. Ah, and for you, I have a fiesta bowl. Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession? Ah, and you, sir. Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. You know, it's not too early for lunch if you woke up at 4 a.m. Might be the right time in that case. Well, I'm guessing that wasn't Edward's morning ritual. Waking up at 4 a.m.? Ugh, God no. Well, Your Honor, how does it taste? So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty, it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca. What the hell does pickled tapioca taste like? Name, profession, now. Me? The name is Angel Starr. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well. Witness, please describe the incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating. Well then hurry it up, Judge. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call in the police to provide a description of the crime. Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional. What? What exactly does that mean? Until 2 years ago, Ms. Angel Starr was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. What? Miss Starr was a detective? Apparently so. I know who you are. Cough up. Cough up, Queen Angel Starr, Your Honor. Long time no see. Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Starr. Just who is this lady? No kidding, right? If I might have the court's attention over here. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks. I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutor's spaces, yes? The crime took place by a car in the back of A block, in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with a knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness and an arrest was made on the spot. And who was this valiant witness? Why, it was me, Your Honor. Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime? Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor. It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright? I can't agree on principle, Your Honor. Kinda goes against being a defense attorney. It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining? If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Starr. Wait, are they talking about me? Alright, testimony begins. Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective instincts working. Then, through a wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointed tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. Bringing a lunchbox for your boyfriend? How touching. As you can see, there is no room for doubt. The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife, which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman. So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed? I don't know. I beat Manfred. Pretty sure I can beat you too. I'm, still thinking about that. It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. Oh boy! Let's do it! Alright, so she's saying that she always knew a day like this would come. What do you mean by that? How did you know? I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence for crime, yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy. The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted, given that they are used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim. Killing off the detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. Laid off? She was fired? But why? To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless. Yeah, unbiased my ass. Very well. You may continue, Ms. Starr. Alright, you're delivering lunch to your boyfriend. This boyfriend, he's the detective? Not that boyfriend. The security guard. That boyfriend. You have several? Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants. I'll stick with the lunch. Thanks. Note to self, the judge had to think before replying. The security guard room is in the lot, in A block. It's up on the second level, so you can see everything from there. That would be the room with the security sign. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car? Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So, she was in B block when she witnessed the crime? You sensed something with your finely honed instincts? Yeah, let's see about that. You sensed something. So you're saying you had a premonition of the murder? It felt like... how would you say? Oh, yes. It was like the feeling you get when you view a pumpkin chock full of seeds. I have no idea what that means. Neither do I, actually. Speaking of a detective's instincts, wasn't the victim, Mr. Bruce Goodman, also a detective? Yes, well, he was like a young cheese. A young cheese? A pale white cheese, not yet tinging with experience on the streets. A greenhorn. I, of course, am hard, yellowed, and sharp as a tack. I bet you stink, too. Wow, Emma. That's a little rude to say to the judge. In any case, there in the lot, I felt something stirring in the back of my mind. And you saw it through a wire fence. By garish car, do you mean Mr. Edgeworth's car? Yes. Mr. Edgeworth's? Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Wasn't it? Indeed it was. What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you're sure it was the defendant? I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I'm certain it was her. She's telling the truth. We're doomed. Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always complain. That does not sound very scientific of you, Emma. Witness. In your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you are a biased witness. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, rookie. What? Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. Oh, I'll risk them. I'll fry you like a fritter, crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside. That was inspiring. I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism? I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed. Ah, fuck, she's got a photo. A photograph? You took this? The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap, I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera. How do you not accidentally sell that lunchbox by mistake? I feel like it had to have happened at some point. I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck? This is my first time seeing this photograph. You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs. Well, this is most certainly the defendant. Yep, unfortunately it is. That is unmistakably Lana Skye. So, what was the defendant doing at the time? Holding the knife in her right hand, okay. So, tell me more about this knife that the suspect was carrying. Well, I said the blade was about 10 centimeters long. Is that right, Mr. Edgeworth? It is your knife, after all. Yes, that sounds about right. Prosecutors are, by nature, well versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my egg salad surprise set. You can't testify as to her ability to kill an egg. A person. Whatever. Oh, perhaps a chicken salad set would have been a better metaphor? So, the defendant was holding a knife. What then? And she thrust it into the detective's chest. Okay. Tell the court why you didn't try to stop this crime. You did see her raise the knife to strike, no? The defense has a point. Unfortunately, by the time I realized what was going on, it was already too late. Too late? Yes. The next moment, the chief prosecutor brought down the murder weapon. I see. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. You said that before. Anything else? Scientifically speaking, Ms. Starr's testimony is flawless. Sounds pretty fatal to me. So, what do we do? Is this it? Is my sister guilty? Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit more, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes me even calmer. Don't smile like that. Oh, I'll smile if I want to smile, goddamn. Alright, so what we need to do at this point, we need to go to this statement here and present the crime photo, because she's saying that she took a photo as it happened, but this photo is not when it happened. I don't see no knife being thrust here. And you witnessed this. You saw Ms. Skye stab the victim with the knife. As I've already said, yes. I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch. I'm sure that is a fine lunch. But isn't that odd? Well, look at this photograph. This is the photograph that you took of the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Ms. Skye not holding a knife? And where's Detective Goodman? Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Objection. Well, let's be a little more careful with our evidence, shall we? It is you that needs to be more careful, Mr. Wright. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing. I'd say it's more than a moment, because I don't even see Goodman there. And how can you tell? Blood splatter. What? See the dark crimson stain on the chief prosecutor's coat? It's a black and white photograph. No, I don't see crimson. Ah, yes. It's hard to tell, but that could be blood. Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem, except you. Mr. Wright, are you going to sit there and take that kind of abuse? We've taken worse. But we'll raise an objection. Wait, that contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime. Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. That's it? If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try order the jumbo size lunch from the get-go. Good advice. I'm not sure I understood it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Skye was cold, calculating, like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. premeditated? And how do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph. Well, are those gloves? Surgical gloves, made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves. Ah, to hide the prints on the knife. I mean, you gotta admit, that makes sense. These gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation. Premeditated murder. A serious offense. Witness, add this to your testimony. Okay, she's saying the murder was planned on the rubber gloves to prove it, but we know how to press that. I could present, but let's press it first. And what if she was just in the habit of wearing gloves, like driving gloves? The gloves were admitted as evidence when the defendant was arrested. They were rubber gloves, of the kind used for autopsies. In other words, when the chief prosecutor came to the crime scene, she came to do murder. It's the only possible conclusion one can make. Everything was planned. It was a premeditated crime. Ah, shit. Impressive. I'm sorry they took you off the force, Miss Starr. This is bad. She's got them thinking this was all planned. If she can prove this claim, the trial's already over. I've got to think of a way to show that this wasn't premeditated. Okay, we're doing the flesh wound speak. That's what she'll say anytime we go past all the testimony pieces. So what we have to do at this point is we need to prove that it wasn't premeditated. The only way to do that is to present the knife. Because you see, this is Edgeworth's knife, and it was found in the trunk of his car. It was premeditated. Why wouldn't she have her own knife? Why would she have to use Edgeworth's knife? That'll make sense, right? Witness, do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell boxed lunches for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it is my knife. What's with this case? The bloody murder weapon, a red car, all belonging to the prosecutor there? The defendant is the chief prosecutor for the district, right? Mommy, are prosecutors bad people? All people are bad people, kid. All people. You'll learn it when you get older. The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony. What's that, rookie? In your testimony, you stated that Lana Skye planned this murder, and that's why she was wearing those special gloves. This seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, why would she not also repair the most obvious thing? The murder weapon. Oh. Yeah, oh, that's right. This knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon. Got a point. Order. Great. Now the tide is turning in our favor. Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free. Now with that look on Edgeworth's face. Right. I believe the next lunch we'll be eating is humble pie. Why? I hope you weren't deluding yourself to thinking that the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail. But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory. Bah! The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lana Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution need prove. Nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now? But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If she wasn't, why would she have been wearing... I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again. Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought. How dare you? My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now? Alright, testimony part 2. Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it? So, if I order pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy? Apparently, yes. In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness. Alright, this one's a little bit easier. I mean, we know exactly where to go at this point. She's saying that she saw Lana plunge the knife in again and again into the victim's body. But according to what we already know about the case, that's not possible. Because as we see here on the autopsy report, one knife wound. Pretty easy thing there. You say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Ms. Starr. What do you mean? I shouldn't have to be the one to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states that death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound. Ah, you're right. Good show, Mr. Edgeworth. What a hunk. He's my hero, really. And what about my objection? No one noticed? Well, witness, you got the crime scene set, right? Is that just rice with some kind of red sauce on it? Why? Also, look at the handle of that fork. It's the same color as the knife handle. Somebody did that intentionally. Oh, thanks. I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood. But now I realize that such mistakes are possible. So, you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice. Then, tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify. Her red muffler looked like blood. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. Muffler? What? Her red muffler? Yes, like a scarf. The chief prosecutor always wears one around her neck. So she can be easily hanged at a moment's notice, I suppose. She's right. Miss Skye was wearing a red scarf, wasn't she? But, wait. Isn't it odd that you mistook that for splattered blood? It's fucking huge! Well, people often mistake my beard for a bib. A judge with the bib. That's why this place feels so much like kindergarten sometimes. I mean, at least in that case, you know, his beard is kind of shaved like a bib would be right around his neck. But that scarf, that is way too big to look like blood. Come on. Actually, I do think I saw some traces of blood on her chest. You are really doubling down on this, aren't you? However, the autopsy report is clear on this matter. There was only one knife wound. Apparently, Ms. Starr isn't entirely sure of her own testimony. Mr. Wright, this is our chance. Chance for what, though? Ms. Starr has turned out to be as short-tempered as she looked when we first met her. Challenging her abilities as a detective really set her off. The short wick burns out the fastest. It's a scientific fact. I wonder, wouldn't it depend on the size of the candle? I mean, add more wax and even a really short wick will burn longer. Obviously, more scientific testing is required. Right. So, we gotta go back to that statement that she already revised for the second time. Okay, so she's saying the red muffler looked like blood, so we have to prove that that's bullshit, which we can easily do with this crime photo, because as we can see here, I see nothing around that neck. Do you? You're bullshitting me, Star, and I don't like it. Miss Star, I demand an explanation. The witness is clearly not suited for detective work. What? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself, with this photograph. But that can't be. Only a true professional would be so clueless. I'm sure you'll make a good lunch, lady. Have no fear. Harsh words, but good. In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails. What was my objection? Chopped liver? But it was there, a scarf. No, not that, but something red. Really? Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude. Now, back to business. What? Very well. Witness, continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that. Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least. Ultimately, couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. The most important part? The part where your sister stabs the victim. This next testimony might just be the moment of truth. I fucking hope so. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confuse my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile. You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you? I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Star. That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake. Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten. No thanks. Pretty sure you wouldn't be very good at it anyways. Note to self, Attorney Wright gets bitten by snake. Not so. Don't write that down, Emma. Cross it out. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside and kicked over an oil drum. An oil drum? That's hard to imagine. Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A real leopard woman. Roar. Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you will. Alright, so she's claiming that the suspect attempted to run behind a partition after the murder. So, where is this partition on the floor plans? I'm sure she meant this wall next to the car. Alright, that thing. There was a wall there, about 6 feet high. She was obviously trying to hide herself, quite a natural thing for a criminal to do. And what did you do then? Alright, she's saying that she quickly caught up to her. Seems a little suspect, but okay. You say quickly. Were you close to the suspect? As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time. Huh. Maybe I should press for more details? Absolutely. I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. The lunch lane car was roughly here? She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block. So you witnessed the murder from here then? That would make it 30 feet from the car, yes. Is that correct, Miss Star? Yes, that's right. But there was a chain link fence in front of you. I went over it, of course. Amazing. The cough-up queen, lunch lady athlete indeed. It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, so she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. Plus, you're climbing a chain link fence, that's gonna be noisy. She's gonna know somebody's chasing her. Come on now. Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high too. Yeah, that is not an easy climb. Unless you're saying that you're gonna jump on top of that vehicle there, and then jump over that, climb on top of that, and then jump over the fence from that point? No, that makes no sense. I call bullshit. How come Ms. Sky didn't get away? I know, right? It doesn't make sense. Alright, you're saying she mentioned the muffler. Again with this fucking muffler. She mentioned the muffler? What exactly did she say? If I remember exactly, I would have told you my testimony. Cheeky. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler. Just that one word. So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else? Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone. Her phone? Wait, you mean this cell phone? By phone, do you mean this cell phone discovered at the crime scene? Yes, ultimately. Ultimately? My memory... it's like a salmon. Heading upstream, you see. No, the court doesn't see, Miss Starr. Neither do I. The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall. On the wall? That's right. Near the car. There was an emergency phone on the wall. Apparently, it was out of order. And so she used her cell phone. Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day. Good witnessing, witness. Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying? You should, of course, add this to your testimony. The things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. Okay, she even probably used the phone on the wall and just used her cell. Tell me some more. Do you think you could restate your testimony for the court? I was going to ask the same thing. I'll only say this one time, so listen close, rookies. Pretty sure the judge has been at this job longer than you or me, so don't call him a rookie. The chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. Then she picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order. So she pulled her own cell phone out of her pocket. And during that time, you climbed over the chain link fence. Then when I boldly grabbed her arm, the chief prosecutor hung up her phone. And you saw her doing this. What is it, Mr. Wright? Oh, you know, it's just an impossibility. So, let's see here. She's saying that she saw Ms. Sky go behind a wall to try and use the phone. But here's the problem with that. She wouldn't have been able to see behind the wall. So, Ms. Starr, what did you see? Really? Tell the truth this time, please. I have to conclude that you have a very personal grudge against Ms. Lana Sky. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Ah, bullshit. Well, who would have thought you'd be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You, who together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago. Well, Ms. Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me, and I'll make you cough it all up. Right. Let's just look at the floor plan, shall we? You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Ms. Sky making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at here. That emergency phone was on the back side of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it. Order! Order! What is the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies. That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question. Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. Can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about where she saw it. She tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. It would be pointless for her to lie about it. Pointless to lie. I see. The witness did actually see Ms. Sky using the emergency phone. In other words, Ms. Starr witnessed the crime from a different location. A different location? Now that's a pointless lie if I ever heard one. It does kind of seem like a pointless lie, doesn't it? And yet, a lie it is. Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony we've heard until now points in one direction. The place where Ms. Skywood's crime was here. So, if she was going to see the telephone behind the wall, she had to be over in A block, right? Over in these cars would make sense, because she would have like a viewpoint of both of these two spots, but we know she parked over on B block. So unless she was hiding behind a car, that would make sense. But she does have a boyfriend in the security room. And there's cameras, so she clearly could have seen multiple areas of the parking lot. So that would make sense. This is the only place where she could have been. The security guard room. Indeed, the security guard room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second level, so you can see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places where she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime and the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, right? Well, Ms. Starr? How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think this tables could be turned. Today, a man has gotten the better of Angel Starr. Order. Witness, what have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better. I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished, and I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails. The guilty? Is she talking about Ms. Sky? Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Ms. Starr lie? Doesn't make sense. You're right, it doesn't. She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything. Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. That truth still stands. It still stands? Oh, I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason. So, tell us, what was her reason, Mr. Wright? What? Me? Who else? Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Ms. Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard station. But she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference, but what? What could change? I mean, technically, both the angle of view and the distance of the crime could change. But let's go to the distance of the crime, considering she's banking on the fact that she ran up to the victim, or the suspect rather, and stopped them. Well, caught them afterwards, I mean to say. It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime. My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is just 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see. What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it will take her to reach the scene of the crime. Ms. Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Ms. Skye? Well, witness? You... Yes. You ordered the stupid... stupid? Wow, I read the word squid as stupid. What the hell is wrong with me? You ordered the squid wheels, right? Ugh. The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible. I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend. Boysenberry for the boyfriend. He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. That is a long-ass walk. And you expect us to believe that you got there in time to catch her? That's why I had to go through the visitors parking in B block. That's quite a detour. Yeah, no shit. It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime. 5 minutes? This changes things considerably. But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork. You have a point, and the spork is a wonderful invention. Would you like another caviar lunch? Absolutely. Mr. Wright, you have to do something. Do you have any evidence to stop this? Sure. Let's raise an objection and find out. 5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest? Think about it. You could make pasta in that amount of time, if you like it al dente. I've got lunchboxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie. A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Strange. If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey, don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone. I'm not saying you did. But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run. But this time was different. Miss Skye dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable. Well then, it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. She has a grudge against the defendant, and there is a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go? Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. We did it! We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright! That was way too close. I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned. Sweet. Fucking hell. What do you want? Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right? That's the one she tried to foist off on me. Ugh. I prefer to not take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I had decisive evidence. What was that? Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes? My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr. Is this your jumbo lunchbox? Woohoo! A triple-decker. Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence. Like the Lunchland motto says, you won't be disappointed. What she couldn't pull out of her lunchbox this time? I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other was the defendant, Ms. Lana Sky's blood. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. Well, shit. What? There was blood found on that shoe. Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs. I'd rather pass, thanks. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence? Simple. As I've already said, I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself. And you had blood tests performed? Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics. In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence. What? You should know the 2 rules of evidence law, Ms. Starr. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence. At least for the time being. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective, as I mentioned previously. This shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Ugh. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen. You could at least study some evidence law, really. The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. Well, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness. Anything to ensure that the guilty are properly judged. Alright, so now we got the victim's shoe in our court record. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. Not before looking at the shoe, if you would please just give me a quick moment. Okay, shoe. Let's see here. It's a white enamel shoe. Bears traces of blood from Goodman and Lana Sky. Alright, much like the knife, we can go ahead and... Wait, the knife? Was it the knife we looked at before? No, it was the phone. Much like the phone, we can also rotate things around, zoom in, and we see that there's blood on the bottom of the shoe. It's a little bit unusual, but okay. There's blood here too. On the sole of the shoe? It's gotta be the victim's. He must have stepped in a puddle of his own blood. All this blood, it's horrible. Huh. This blood might be an important clue. If you say so, Phoenix. I mean, it does seem kind of weird that, hey, if this guy is dead, he's not going to be able to walk in his own blood. And also, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't see any blood at the scene of the crime. So, what the hell? Alright, so you're saying that the shoe is decisive flawless evidence? Let's test that theory. This evidence clearly reveals the contradiction in that statement, Your Honor. How exactly are that evidence and the statement just now related? They aren't they? Not at all. Mr. Wright, please think over the facts before making accusations. I don't think that one made a point to the judge. Okay, let's press the statement first. I forgot to do that. I can't let this evidence go through without a fight. You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? No. Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some, like your client, she's in enough hot water to make a whole batch of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with the shoe? A problem? This is critical. What's wrong with the victim's shoe? Don't know yet, but let's find out. I'm pretty sure it's the fact that there's blood on the bottom. If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there's one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction. That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you? Ugh, don't want it. Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with this evidence. It's the fact that there is, you see, blood on the bottom of the shoe. I wonder if you noticed, but there's blood on the bottom of this shoe. Don't mess with me, rookie, or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe. That sounds like a threat. Indeed. There is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe. It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of his shoe? I'm gonna go with the crime photo because I don't see no blood. The problem lies in the footprint. The footprint? Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found at the scene? As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about the shoe entirely. This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. If they were bloody prints, they would have been found. We checked the scene and found nothing of the sort. Order. Well, witness? What? Well, great going, Mr. Wright, but it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction. But then we had to ask why there wasn't a footprint. Oh. Huh. Well, that's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint. Think, Mr. Wright, think. Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions. What? I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There's one vital hint to the truth in her testimony. What are you talking about? Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside and kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Roar. I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty? Oh, that. I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently, you're not the slowest belt in the lunchbox factory. Witness, well, was the oil drum empty? The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. Water? What does that mean? Still don't get it, Mr. Wright? Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? You don't mean... Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her. That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoes tie her quite clearly to the murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs. Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence. That reminds me, Miss Sky's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she'd cut herself when she stabbed him? So, my sister's blood was on the shoe? That's when it happened? Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial. Mr. Wright, do something, please. What do you expect me to do here? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime, and she tried to conceal it. But... enough. There is no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor? Very well. But Angel Star's on the prosecution's side. She could have been lying about the water. This court finds the defendant, Ms. Lana Sky. There it is. Little girl, what did you just say? What? Me? Did you say that I, Angel Star, was on the prosecution side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well... I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are, demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox? A lunchbox called evidence. Wait, witness. Don't tell me you have something else. You've reached your verdict, Your Honor. Any further comments will be held in contempt of court. Your threats don't scare the cough up, Queen. Look at this. A photograph. I had this just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim. I see no room for error in this evidence. Mr. Wright, wait. Look at the asphalt in this photo. It's wet. Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all. It's not your fault, kid. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia. Right, wet or not. Don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up. Not until the bitter end. This is the last piece of evidence. Very well. This time I'd like to declare a verdict for good. Poor judge. Your Honor, wait. What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait? No, it can't. Because then it would be too late. Just look at this photograph for me. The one that was just submitted. This trial isn't over until we give every piece of evidence proper consideration. So, Wright, are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah. I'll think later, though. Yes, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this. I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem in this photograph. So, we see a knife plunged into his chest, we see his shoe on the floor, and then we see something sticking out of the car's muffler. How curious. The problem in this photograph is here. What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler. Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor? You just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph. Your Honor, a muffler is also a part on a car or a motorcycle. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system, a pipe. I see. I see. Uh-huh. What's that suspicious-looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler? So what if there's something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sorry, Miss Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. What? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to this case. Oh, it's quite simple. You see, there's that phone call where the word muffler was overheard. I guess now we know what it means. Ms. Starr, recall your testimony for the court. Ah, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in her earlier testimony. Muffler? Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence. Take it down a notch there, honey. Well, it seems we'll have to suspend the proceedings for now. Suspend? I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once, and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed. I suppose so. Whew. That was close. But we made it. At least for now. The court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime after all. He's still hungry? Alright everyone, that's going to be it of today's episode. Next time around, we are resuming court. We're not jumping back into the investigation phase just yet. We got some more courtroom drama to deal with. But I'll see you all then. Bye everyone.